Hello everyone, welcome to Badgeskins. So in this short how-to video, we'll be installing a amber delete on this front headlight of this 11th gen Civic. So it's pretty basic. What you want to do is you want to clean this whole area nice and clean, and also take the alcohol wipe and dry it with a microfiber cloth. Now your kit looks like this. There's one for each side obviously. So same as always, you gotta remove this Badgeskin from the backing. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna line up the back and the bottom edge here like this. Once you get it lined up, you can start tacking it down. You can use your thumb as a squeegee and just work your way up. Or if you have, you can take a squeegee like this and also squeegee it across. If you don't have one, you can get one from our website. Now you're gonna squeegee all the way towards this where it starts to bend here, and this is where we're gonna just cut in a little bit. We'll give it a little bit of tension so that it'll prevent you from getting those wrinkles. And you're just gonna continue to squeegee down and cut on an angle like this. If you have any issues, you can always just lift up like that. So we're gonna do the same thing here. We're just gonna cut down. And now, because the masking creates so much tension, we're gonna remove the masking so we can complete the install. Now all you have to do is take a little bit with a heat gun or hair dryer and make the vinyl a little bit more pliable. And you're just gonna cut across the wrinkles like this on almost like a chopping motion like this. And you're gonna do the same thing over here. You're just gonna cut down and across like that. And afterwards, you wanna make sure all the corners and the edges here are tightly sealed down. And that's it. So in this segment, we'll be actually installing a amber delete, which is a nice gloss black piece that's gonna cover this section like this, kind of like almost like an arrowhead. Your kit looks like this, same thing, one for each side. Process is pretty well almost identical, it's just a little different shape. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're just gonna make sure it's nice and clean, and then you're gonna remove the Badgeskin from the backing. And what you're gonna do is the same thing. You wanna line up this kind of like arrowhead here. You wanna make sure that the bottom lines up. I want to make sure when I come across, it's kind of almost nice and parallel to it. And I want to tack it down right here where this bump is. You see how everything kind of converges onto this little bump here? So this is where I kind of just want to tack it down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack down this section here. And then I'm going to just squeegee this from this high point across, just like this. And I'm gonna do the same thing down here. Go along and work along this line here and kind of push everything out. If I start to see a little bit of wrinkles, you can lift up a little bit. So at this point, you want to just kind of keep an eye on how much tension this masking is producing. Now, once it starts producing too much tension, that's when you know it's pretty well time to kind of start removing it. So to finish this top edge off, I'm probably going to start removing this masking now. You're going to remove it at 180 degrees, like this. See? And now I'm just going to support it with the back of my fingers. And now I'm going to start squeegeeing everything kind of like almost like a upside down or a sad face, where I'm kind of doing this arc. And I'm just gonna keep working it all the way until I get to the end here. And I'm gonna do the same thing here, where I'm just kind of cut into these little wrinkles like this on a little like kind of motion, like kind of like going in and cutting down on an angle, just like that. And now that's fully down. All you have to do is just make sure you smooth everything out and make sure that all your edges here is tacked down. If you need to, then you can give it a quick heat treat on the edges. To make sure everything's tacked down. And it's pretty simple, just like that. You have a nice gloss black amber delete. So in this segment, we'll be actually installing a amber and eyelid combo. It's actually a one piece for this 11th gen Honda Civic. And pretty well your kit looks like this, one for each side. It's a pretty large piece and it's pretty intricate on the install, so you have to be patient. Process is all the same. What you want to do is make sure that you clean the whole headlight, make sure that it's nice and clean, no debris or anything like that. Take the alcohol wipe. You want to wipe down the sections that this will be covering for the install, and then microfiber cloth to dry it and make sure that everything is nice and clean and dry. And you want to make sure that you really get up in this crevice on this front like hood extension piece, and also in between here, between the fender and the bumper. So we want to make sure that there's no dirt or debris in here, and then also that's clean and dry. Once you've got your prep done, then it's a matter of removing your badge skin from the backing like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drape this over my arm. And the lineup process is the same as the amber delete, where we're going to line it up towards this kind of like back arrow shape and the bottom. See how when I let this drop, this kind of rises up a bit, so we want to make that adjustment. So I'm pretty happy with that lined up, how it's set up there. And what I'll do is that you want to lift everything up now that you have it lined up, and your focal points could be this kind of like little top section where everything converges on this kind of like three-dimensional shape. I'm just going to tack this eyelid part, just kind of get it out of the way right here. Squeegee everything kind of like this outwards. If you have a squeegee, go ahead and use your squeegee. If you don't, you can get one from our website. But I'm just gonna kind of start working everything towards the outer edge. And obviously, if you need to, you can always just pull up like this and just kind of start making adjustments. And as you can see, I'm kind of cutting the vinyl on an angle like this. I'm not going straight down. So you can see here, I'm getting close to the edge, and this is where you're gonna start getting your wrinkles, but I don't want you to worry about that. I just want you to try and get it this flat surface, and you're gonna work along these lines here, the peaks as we call them, and work it towards the edge. Now once you get to a certain point here, the masking is going to create too much tension, so it's really going to be hard to kind of get rid of these wrinkles. So this is where, once you get this section tacked down on the front like this, I'm going to start removing the masking right here. You see that? Now this gives me the ability to start tacking this down and cutting into the vinyl like this, so I can remove those wrinkles without the tension of the masking in the way to prevent me from doing so. If you need to apply heat, you can, but if you're working with the vinyl at a good like room temperature out of the sun, it'll be fine, as you can see, right? So right here, as you can see, I'm just cutting into the vinyl and working it towards the edge or the outer part of the headlight. until I start seeing that it's creating too much tension for me and wrinkles. So I'm gonna go as far as this for now, and I'm gonna concentrate on lining this portion up now. So this is gonna come across, and then we're just gonna tack it down a little bit here. And all this has to do is just cover up the chrome, because your daytime running light LED is right there. Now I'm just gonna keep continuing on. I'm gonna tack down this front edge, and as I'm looking at level to the headlight, I'm just gonna make sure that it lines up with that chrome piece and where the LED meets, and just keep going across and tack it down like this. Once you've done that, then we can come back and finish off this top portion of the amber delete section. Obviously this looks a little intimidating, but it's okay. So now that we have everything kind of majorly tacked down, we can start peeling the rest of the masking off here like this. And now we can start cutting into this section here. The same process as you did earlier, where you kind of cut into the vinyl like this on a bit of an angle. But you're just going to be nice and slow about it and be very careful. Now if you need to, you can apply a bit of heat. Now if you ever get any wrinkles or issues you don't like, you can obviously just peel up a little bit, add a little bit of heat, let it cool down, and then you can start all over again like this. So here, I'm gonna apply some heat again. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna start from this kind of like elbow, this corner, and I'm gonna work my way towards the straight. So here we go. I'm gonna use a micro squeegee this time. So once you get everything tacked down, we can finally just remove the rest of the masking here. And what I want to do is I want to go over all the edges to make sure that it's nicely tacked down and sealed. We're gonna end up just wrapping this around the edge with the headlight and making sure that it is sealed and tacked down. Now if you want, you can go over all the edges with a heat treat just to make sure you activate the adhesive. You want to keep that heat moving so it doesn't burn the vinyl, and just go over it with your squeegee. And that's it. It's a pretty tedious install, but if you take your time and patience, I think you'll be rewarded with the way that it looks. I think you guys will be happy with this. Thanks for watching.